Right now, we're standing at the edge of the most powerful technological shift in human history. Trillions of dollars are being poured into chips, data centers, and AI labs. Google is building its own TPUs, OpenAI is designing custom silicon, Amazon is equipping drivers with AI glasses, and even our own watches and rings are feeding data to personal AIs. The velocity of engineering has never been higher, but beneath the headlines, a deeper story is playing out. Compute scarcity, corporate power, job disruption, and an explosion of new possibilities in health and medicine. In the next few minutes, we're going to unpack what this really means for you, how it's changing the economy, your job, and even your body.
The current top prediction is 40% by October 31st, so maybe by the end of next month. But here's the other prediction. Which AI model will be in first place, the best by the end of September? 99%, it was Google. But what was fascinating was the second best AI model by the end of September, 91% for Alibaba for Qwen. I find that amazing. How do you think about that, Iman?
Well, I think we've seen the gap close dramatically between those models. Qwen is releasing almost daily now. Today they had 6 model releases.
Wow.
And they're just accelerating.
And I could reach AGI first. And the fact that we've seen it beating all the AGI benchmarks. And in particular here, what we have is Grok 5 reaching top marks on the AGI benchmark, which is the abstract and reasoning corpus. So right now in the Arc AGI V2, Grok 4 has hit 15.9%, which is the highest known. Are you tracking these, Iman?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're continuing to see scales coming through here. And this is going to be the first big mega run that we'll know about. Again, like OpenAI might release their verifier runs, but all these benchmarks are saturating so fast.
Yeah.
I think that, who was it, Epoch Research predicted that every benchmark in the market today will be saturated within 3 years, 4 years.
We need new benchmarks.
Like just a simple extrapolation.
Dave.
We need new benchmarks. But the crazy thing...
The crazy thing is what?
This is V2, though. We already saturated V1, but V2 is crazy hard. Like if this one saturates, then you're beyond superhuman intelligence. So this one, if this one saturates in 3 years, we're in another universe, which it probably will.
I think more important is the cost per task, right? On the x-axis, like it's very, very clear that if you're willing to throw more dollars at this, you're able to increase performance. And I think that's I could care less on the last slide of like who the consumer user is. It's like when we throw more dollars at which models, do we increase the quality of performance, and that's going to be who ends up winning.
Yeah, because still only been 1 year since O1 was announced.
That's crazy. Ancient history. That's funny. And so here we go, Grok 4 fast reasoning. I love these names, right? Just appending on the end of them. Grok 4 fast reasoning ranks #1 on the extended.
We're watching something extraordinary unfold in real time, the scarcity of computing power. Imagine one investment alone, $100 billion, that equals almost half of all U.S. venture capital in a single year. Where is this money going? Straight into chips and data centers. Why? Because the AI boom needs silicon, not just software. But here's the catch. NVIDIA's Jensen Huang can make about 5 million chips this year, and a single mega deal may swallow 20 to 30% of that supply. Think about that for a second. All the dazzling demos we're seeing, the giant benchmarks, the promises of AI for billions of people, the hardware to deliver it simply doesn't exist yet. We're hitting a real bottleneck. Not enough chips, not enough data center space, not enough energy to power them. In effect, we're turning electricity into intelligence, and whoever controls the marginal production of chips, compute capacity, and power plants will control the next stage of the digital economy. For investors, this signals a shift. The winners may not just be the app builders or model makers, but the chip manufacturers, data center constructors, and energy suppliers. This is the new gold rush, and the scarcity of compute is its pickaxe.
110,000 GP200 GPU clusters. I love this. 119 air-cooled chillers and Tesla Megapack. So this is the beginning of Colossus 2. Imad, you tracking this, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think Elon said he's going to be the first to a gigawatt, the first to 10 gigawatts, and the first to a terawatt.
Yeah, this is his tweet from today. OpenAI is bragging about their NVIDIA partnership, and here he is saying, just as we were first to bring a gigawatt of coherent training compute online, we'll be the first to 10 gigawatts, 100 gigawatts, and 1 terawatt. Love that.
It's basically like as much as a state now. These things will be drawing down. The whole of the Bitcoin energy is about 20 gigawatts, if you look at it as well.
Wow.
And that's about as much as all of Argentina is a 10 gigawatt power center. I think what's going to happen now, though, because you don't have the infrastructure, I think we're going to see massive solar and battery build-outs, and that's going to be super interesting as you scale there. I don't know how else you're going to do it unless you have these small-scale, literally nuclear reactors. In fact, Microsoft has co-opted like nuclear power everywhere, so it's going to be power wars across the US.
Amazing. Here's our article on NVIDIA investing $100 billion into OpenAI. It was a great CNBC piece that had Sam Altman and Greg Brockman and Jensen speaking together. And let me just quote what they say. They say, this is Sam saying, $100 billion is a small dent in the scale of our plans for 10 gigawatts of compute. This data center will be a multi-square mile level of infrastructure. The stuff that will come out of this super brain will be remarkable. I love that, right? Multi-square mile super brain. I mean, tiling the world. And Greg Brock.
We are living through a once-in-history power shift in technology. Just a few years ago, $1 billion check for an AI company seemed jaw-dropping. Now $100 billion barely raises eyebrows. The OpenAI NVIDIA arrangement shows how fast loyalties and supply chains are shifting. Microsoft, once OpenAI's sole compute provider, was reportedly informed only the day before the deal. That's how quickly the AI compute race is moving. What does that mean? Whoever can secure and scale compute will decide who even gets to compete. Jensen Huang at NVIDIA has effectively guaranteed OpenAI a massive slice of scarce chips. Meta's Mark Zuckerberg is pledging $600 billion for U.S. data centers by 2028, because he'd rather lose billions than be late to superintelligence. Elon Musk says many rivals never had a chance, because only a handful of players can afford this level of infrastructure. This isn't just a series of headlines. It's a signal. The next era of AI isn't about clever algorithms. It's about industrial scale capacity. Chips, power plants, and global data centers. The stakes are so high that tech leaders are sitting at the White House being asked how much they'll pump into the U.S. economy. For anyone watching, the message is clear. Compute scarcity is shaping the future of intelligence, and only those who lock it up early will lead.
And I loved this quote about how to use agents. Let's take a listen.
I'm one with true, unique domain expertise. Let's say I'm a lawyer who is top in the world at solving certain cases that are very rare. And so I have this domain expertise that I'm not going to share in the open source. I'm not going to sell to Scale AI so that they can sell to OpenAI or Google, all of those. I'm just going to keep this resource to myself. But the way I would monetize it, instead of myself going and selling my services directly, I would like imbue this knowledge into an agent that becomes this very specialized agent in this very specialized domain. And then I can scale my.
It's going to make it much easier than you could almost imagine to create anything you want, right? And that will probably be true in the physical world in addition to the digital world in ways that are hard to predict. But I think it'll be a world of absolute compute scarcity. And we've seen a little bit of what this is like within OpenAI, right? The way that different research projects fight over compute, or that the success of the research program is determined by the compute allocation. And so one thing we think about a lot is how do we increase the supply of compute in the world, right? We want to increase the intelligence, but also the availability of that intelligence. And fundamentally, it is a physical infrastructure problem, not just a software problem.
Could you imagine the ongoing conversations inside of OpenAI and sort of...
We're watching a fascinating shift in the public messaging around AI. Just a few months ago, the most powerful people in tech were openly admitting that AI would cause massive job displacement. Now the tone has changed. Suddenly it's all about 3-day work weeks and AI making life easier, and companies claiming, we used AI everywhere but didn't have any layoffs. Why the sudden optimism? It isn't because the technology changed overnight. It's because these leaders have realized how explosive the fear of job loss can be. Nobody wants panic or pitchforks in the streets. So the narrative has shifted from disruption to utopia. The truth is more complicated. AI will create new abundance, more productivity, more capability, more wealth. But without a mechanism for broad distribution, that abundance risks pooling in the hands of a very small number of companies and individuals. We could end up with a future where a handful of players control the gains while many others see their roles automated away. Yes, a few companies may grow so quickly that they genuinely avoid layoffs, but many others will quietly reduce headcount because AI allows them to. Pretending otherwise doesn't help society prepare. The real conversation we need is not about whether AI will bring abundance. It will. But how that abundance is shared so the benefits don't stay locked in a tiny corner of the economy.
Company will grow so quickly that there are no layoffs, but many, many other companies are going to say, wow, half the headcount can go because I AI'd it. So, I'm just seeing a lot less honesty in these these interviews.
Yeah. Duolingo is growing 30-40% a year. It should be growing its employee base 30-40% a year.
Yeah.
Interesting point. Yeah. So it's standing still. This is what Mark Benioff talked about as well. We're growing, but we're not growing the number of engineers with Agent Force there. I thought this was important for us to talk about. NASDAQ pushes to launch trading of tokenized securities. And so the U.S. to become the first exchange to move with this initiative. And, it's not enough for us to trade 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. We want to go to 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then it'll be 24/7. So if approved, we'll see the first tokenized trades roll out by late 2026. As a reminder, Robinhood, at least their EU version in June and July, launched with tokenized stock tokens for 200 U.S. stocks. They've been trading 24/5. And Robinhood also, on their EU platform, rolled out stock tokens for private companies, OpenAI and SpaceX. So I found that pretty fascinating. It hasn't come to the U.S. yet, but it most likely will. Thoughts about this, Dave? You just been trading successfully on because of the breakthroughs coming out of both OpenAI and Google. So Duolingo's CEO says AI made employees 4 to 5 times more productive. No layoffs. Reported no full-time layoffs since the company went AI first. And AI has sped up lesson creation in languages, math, and music. And Duolingo raised revenue forecasts to $1.02 billion from $996 million. Dave, what do you think about this?
Well, one thing I can say for sure, just based on these last 2 slides, if you look at podcasts and interviews from maybe 3 or 4 months ago, they're very, very honest about job displacement and job loss.
We're moving from a world where technology is something we use occasionally to a world where it's woven into our daily biology. Continuous glucose monitors, Oura rings, Apple watches. These aren't just gadgets, they're constant sensors, quietly streaming real-time health data into personal AIs. That means an individual can now ask questions once reserved for a clinical lab. How did my deep sleep change when I started this supplement? Did my blood sugar spike after that medication? This level of personal analytics isn't just convenient, it's a glimpse into a new kind of healthcare, AI-driven, continuous, and individualized. And the biggest breakthroughs may come not from wearables themselves, but from how AI uses the data they produce. That's why DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis's announcement is so electrifying. AI could shrink drug discovery timelines from years to mere months. Imagine what that means. Instead of waiting a decade for new treatments, algorithms could scan massive data sets, simulate thousands of molecules, and predict which ones will work long before human trials. Combined with the data each of us is already producing, this could open the door to truly personalized medicine, faster, cheaper, and more precise than anything we've seen. The message is clear. AI isn't just digitizing healthcare, it's rebuilding it from the ground up, from self-tracking at home to accelerated breakthroughs in the lab. That's why now is the time to understand and embrace these tools. They're not a distant future, they're the beginning of a healthcare revolution happening on our wrists and in our pockets today. So what does all this add up to? A future where AI is not just a tool, but an infrastructure, controlling who has compute, who owns the data, and who benefits from the breakthroughs. From trillion-dollar chip races to wearable devices that can spot health changes before your doctor does, the next decade will be defined by those who understand and act on these shifts. If you found this breakdown valuable and want to stay ahead of the curve, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel right now. Together we'll keep exploring the biggest moves in AI and what they mean for your life and business.